Most people are worried about losing nerve cells with aging, when in reality, they lost 50% of them before they were born. It turns out during embryogenesis, during the development of the brain, the nerve cells are being formed at the rate of 50,000 per second. So obviously there's this tremendous overproduction. So what happens? Those that don't make connections are lost. Roughly 50% are lost before birth.
No one knows exactly why this mass extinction occurs, but Logan believes that if he could stimulate the brain of the fetus, the so-called proto-brain, more of the cells would make the necessary connections and survive.
Was it possible that we could salvage, rescue the proto-brain? Could we in some way strengthen it, invigorate it? Like a muscle, could we get that brain in some way fortified?
The key to saving these cells is hearing, the most developed sense of the unborn child. The pounding rhythm of the mother's heartbeat is the first imprint the fetal brain receives. Evidence is accumulating for the effects of prenatal stimulation, but so far there's very little experimental data. In Moscow, Mikhail Lazarev has carried out the first controlled tests to try and evaluate the long-term benefits of both his method of stimulation and that of Brent Logan.
I first met Brent Logan in 1989. He was engaged in similar research, but his sound stimulation of the fetus was more precise. We decided to conduct research together. The experiment involved 3 groups of people. First, there were the mothers-to-be who were exposed to Brent Logan's system, the system of pure sounds. Then there was a group of mothers who were stimulated by my system with music. Finally, there was a third group, the control group, who simply listened to music without any system at all. Practically all the children who were exposed to either system of stimulation demonstrated very interesting advances in neuromuscular development. For example, almost every child was able to hold its head approximately 2 weeks ahead of any ordinary child. It was able to sit up sooner, to stand up and walk ahead of time. The children who were stimulated by Logan's system were generally faster reaching these physiological milestones. With music stimulation, the case is different. We received some very interesting findings with regard to the child's improved emotional development. This is shown in the child's ability to communicate, to relate to other children. In the future, we may insist on using the 2 systems together, because the one affects the physiological development, the other stimulates the broader psychological advancement. When my wife was carrying my youngest child, I introduced her to the 2 systems of fetal stimulation. So we regard our child as being the synthesis of the 2 systems, and when we compare him to our eldest son, of course we love him all the same, we maintain that the youngest, Ilya, is ahead of our oldest son by about 6 months.